Hi, welcome to Cat's Bookend. I thought that I might do a top 5 favorites because I've been seeing everybody do their top 5 for 2017. But the thing is with mine, it's not going to be books that came out in 2017. It's just going to be the faves of the books that I read in 2017. And I mean, it was hard to pick my top 5 because I read some really fantastic books. But I narrowed it down to these 5. 3 of them already have a review, and I'll put the links down below. One of them I'll have a review coming up. I don't think, even though I did a review for some of these, that I did them justice. But alright, here we go. My top 5 faves of 2017. Allumette. This is a children's picture book. I got it because I was thinking about when I had it as a child, and I just was so curious about it because I knew that the book bothered me then, and I wanted to see why. And I got it on eBay because now it's really hard to get and it's like a collector's item. But I wanted to see what I thought was so bad about the book, and I don't know what my deal was because this was a wonderful, wonderful book, and I'm glad that I bought it just out of curiosity. It's a beautiful story. It's very uplifting. And, you know, I read it at a time when there was a lot of disaster going on around me, floods, and things like that, hurricanes. So it was really uplifting. And it's another take on the little match girl. And she has a happy ending. Like the original folktale, you know, it's a very sad ending. I cry anytime I think of it or even read it. It's so sad. But this one was beautiful. Very happy ending. So check out my review of it and see if maybe it's something that you would like. Not everybody's going to like the same thing. You know, these are all just my opinion and my experiences. But if you want to read a good picture book, that's the one to get. Although it's very, very hard to get. Okay, beautiful though. Beautiful. Alright, now I'm thinking of ending things. This book was freaky and I loved it. Loved, loved, loved it. Very suspenseful, but in a psychological way. And the author gives you hints throughout. But to me, in my opinion, I didn't see that ending coming. I was thinking that it was going to be everything else. But not that. That didn't occur to me. It's really unsettling and really weird. Things keep happening around this house where this young woman is staying. She went to visit the family of her boyfriend even though she wanted to break up with him. And while she's there, all sorts of odd things are going on, and it makes you feel very, very uncomfortable. It's like you're wondering, is somebody crazy? Who's crazy here? You know, because everybody has something about them in this story that's really, really odd. And like I said, there's clues galore. And they even mention a character that's not even really part of the story, which is this guy's brother, her boyfriend's brother. So, I loved it. I mean, it really kept me on the edge of my seat. I didn't want to put it down. It was a page turner. Now, I know there are a lot of people that didn't like it, but I loved it. Loved it. I mean, it was very well written, and like I said, I was on the edge of my seat. I like those kinds of stories. Okay, so, number 3. Now, these aren't in order of how I like them. It's just at random, but these are the 5 that I picked. Okay, and this is Annihilation. Okay, by Jeff Vanderveer. It's part of the Southern Reach trilogy, and right now I'm reading the sequel to it, Authority. But Annihilation is the start of the trilogy, and oh my gosh, Annihilation, this is another one where I was on the edge of my seat. I did not want to put the book down. I was so interested in what was happening. I wanted to know, and I'm going to read the whole trilogy because I'm still questioning. After reading Annihilation, I'm just like, what? I didn't get enough info. I want to know what's going on. I want to know for sure what's going on. Come on, come on, come on. That's what I was thinking through the whole story. What's going on? And if I can't figure it out, that's a good story. I don't want something that's easy to figure out. I want to be blown away. And even though it didn't give any answers, it still left me wanting more. It was really good. And Annihilation is basically about these expeditions into this area known as Area X, and it just like appeared one day, and it even like naturally made a border, which is weird in itself. And they have to send expeditions in there, and strange things happen. People disappear, people die, people come back from Area X, but they're not the same. Some of them like start dying. They get cancer after they come out. And you know that this organization, the Southern Reach, is hiding things from the women in this expedition. They decided that this expedition in the book was going to be all females because they've tried a mixture before. They've tried all males. So now they're going to try all females, and they're just not having any success, and they can't understand why. They find these weird, some of the things these ladies find are like a weird tunnel with all sorts of different lights that they can't explain, and it looks like the lights are organic and alive. Then of course there's that border, you know, who put that up, and why is there only one way you can get through? And then the vegetation has changed. She's noticing different creatures that she can't explain, and I say she because she ends up separating from the rest of the group, and these are things that she finds on her way. There's a lighthouse that has all sorts of mysterious journals in it, and mysterious pictures, and she's trying to piece everything together, but it's too strange. She's reading these books. She's reading these journals while she's in the lighthouse, and she's getting even more, you know, scared, but she's also trying to put together what happened to her husband, because her husband was in the expedition before her. We find out what happened to her husband, but it still doesn't answer any questions. And then the vegetation there, like some of the vegetation looks like people. It's like plants in the shape of people, literally, or that's how she interprets what she's seeing. It's wild. It's really, really wild. And like I said, these little lights she sees that are like living organisms, and she meets one that's like bigger, and it's really scary, and she doesn't understand what's happening to her. She doesn't know if it's like trying to kill her. She doesn't know what's going on. And then they turn against each other, and they make it seem in the book like the area is making them turn against each other. So, and you have like there's a biologist. They each have a different area of expertise. Biologist, psychologist, who's the leader of the expedition, the psychologist. They have surveyor, and there was one more. What was that? Oh, not the archaeologist. Yes, an archaeologist. I think that was all. I think that was it, but I could be wrong. There could have been one more. I know that there was supposed to be a linguist, but she ended up not going. And it's really mysterious. And I don't know. I had the best visuals in my mind. It was so well written. Excuse me. I could see it like a movie happening. And then again, with everything I read, that's pretty much what happens. But, you know, it's a good enough book that you can really like see the details. You feel like you're right there. And I can't wait for the movie that's coming out. Okay, I blabbed on enough about Annihilation. I thought it was great. Okay, and then we have Wool. I heard Lizzie Faye mention it, and I will put her link down below, just as I'm going to put the links to all these other reviews. But like I said, I don't think I did justice to them then, but I'm going to try to do justice to them now. Wool is this amazing science fiction. These people are in these silos, and the punishment that they have there for a crime is to send them outside where they die immediately. And you realize pretty quick something's fishy, something's not right. But they have these really deep silos. The one thing though that kind of like bothered me a little bit was the fact that this was like supposed to be, they were preparing for the future when they made these silos, and there's no elevators. They have to like go down these steps. So like going down to the bottom of the silo is like a trip, like a 2-day trip. Everything's in this silo. And at times it felt pretty claustrophobic. So like this sheriff, it starts with this sheriff being sent out there. And you think, you know, it feels like these people are being set up. It feels like, you know, people are putting the wool over those in the silos' eyes. Okay? And then also I think they get the title wool from, they have this like wool cloth that they have to take outside and they have to clean the screen. And then everybody's all excited. They have this party because, ooh, before this person dies, the screen is going to be clean and we're going to get to see outside. That's pretty chilling to me. And this was one that I never wanted to stop reading. I wanted to keep going. I read every single part. I read the omnibus because it was broken down into episodes for Kindle. But then they put it all together as one big story. And you know what, if you read the whole omnibus, there's a lot of pages, but like I said, it flies by because you're like, oh, I was there, like, I would read and I'd get really, really tired. I'm like, oh, I want to go to bed after this chapter. And then at the end of the chapter, I was like, nope, gotta find out, gotta find out. And then I would just fall asleep while reading it because it seems like I didn't know when to quit. So as it goes on, they recruit other sheriffs, and then they recruit this young woman who has no experience in law enforcement. She doesn't want the dang job. She works down below. She's like a mechanic. She's a top mechanic. And they recruit her, but she's not happy with things that are going on. She wants answers. And people are like too standoffish and secretive about stuff and defensive about stuff, and she ends up going outside. But you see, she figures out a way with her friends to at least make it to the next silo, because that's all they can see is this desolate land, and I don't think you can see the silo until you actually get outside. So she makes it to the next silo. And I don't want to give away any more. It just tells you what happens when she gets to that other silo and, you know, how it affects the silo that she was in to begin with. It's really, really good. Okay, so that's Wool. Now the last of my 5 is At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. Now I loved it. It was one of my all-time faves this year. But I can see why a lot of people wouldn't like it. He starts out giving you every little detail, but there's a reason for that. That helps you understand what's going on. That helps you visualize the creatures, the cities, the expedition, and everything. And once he gets done with all that explaining, and I agree it is a little slow, but it's worth it to me. Once he gets through all of that, bang. I mean, it's just like non-stop action. And there's so many, oh my goodness, this is really bizarre. This is cosmic horror. And it's based on, well, it's original. This is the original story that he wrote. And I hear that Guillermo del Toro is going to make a movie out of this. But it's very expensive. And he's having trouble. And I could see why it's expensive. Because, oh my goodness, the sets that they're going to have to build, how they're going to create the creatures. I mean, and they're going to have to go to the Antarctic because this takes place in the Antarctic. They find a city and they explore it. And they come across all sorts of weird creatures like penguins that are 6 feet tall. Now, that's weird enough to me. But they seem to just accept these 6 feet tall penguins walking around. You know, it's like a 6 foot tall penguin walked by me as I went around the corner. What? If I saw a 6 foot tall penguin, I'd be like, okay, I'm out of here. But it turns out that these penguins are no problem. They should have been happy to see the penguins after what they find after those penguins. I mean, I thought that was bizarre. My tongue is twisting, sorry. I thought that that was bizarre enough as it is. But no, it gets worse. And if you ever look up on Google any of the pictures, you might see what one of these shoggoths looks like. And they are a nightmare to behold. And the old ones, they're pretty scary, but you know, you keep thinking basically what it is scary stuff happens, and then something even more scary, and then something even more horrible, you know, just right on top of each other there. And I loved it. It was so creative, and it's amazing. It's like part horror, part sci-fi. It's an adventure. That was one of my favorites at the Mountains of Madness, and I will do a review on that soon. Okay, so those were my 5 for 2017. Thanks for stopping by.